Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're stepping into a world today where reality and imagination, they kind of intertwine.
Yeah, it's like stepping into a world where the lines blur,
Yeah,
and we got to figure out what's a vision and what's real.
that's right. We're diving deep into the Liat Show today.
And it's not just a show, right? It's more of an experience.
Yeah, and it's described as a reader-supported publication, which immediately caught my eye. What does that actually mean?
It's like a direct connection between Liat and her audience. It's like how some musicians release their music independently.
Oh, okay. So people can directly support her work, becoming part of the creative process, ensuring that the Liat Show keeps going.
Exactly. But let's get to the heart of it. What is the Liat Show?
Yeah, what can listeners expect when they tune in?
Okay, so imagine the late show, but during the day. And instead of just celebrity interviews, it's this captivating mix of stories, insights, and unexpected connections.
Okay, so we've got history, music, science, even entrepreneurship.
You got it. All woven together. And there's a distinct focus on the future, too.
Especially the future of education, right? There's that one article about a school that exists outside the traditional system where technology is used in really extraordinary ways.
Yes, they're using mirrors that act as portals for learning, classrooms that transcend physical boundaries. It's like straight out of science fiction.
Mirrors as portals. Now, that's mind-blowing. But this advanced school seems to be facing a threat. Bots.
Yeah, and not just any bots. These are highly sophisticated bots. They're almost insidious, posing a serious risk to the school's very existence.
Almost like a digital disease spreading. Kind of gives me shivers. To fight back, the school turns to a headhunter named Reno Rains and his methods. Let me tell you, anything but ordinary. Jungle costumes, Ninja Turtles trivia.
Yeah.
I'm sensing a deeper purpose here.
It's brilliant, actually. These seemingly bizarre tasks, they're designed to weed out bots. Rains is looking for critical thinking, adaptability, the very human qualities that AI struggles to replicate.
Wow, he's using the bot's potential strengths against them. It makes you question how we even define intelligence in a world where technology is blurring all the lines.
Exactly. And that's one of the things the Liat Show does so well. It makes us think critically about technology's impact on our lives, not just in the future, but right now.
And it's not just about technology either, is it? It also seems like a great way to learn and improve English skills, especially by experiencing a different culture.
Absolutely. Liat blends elements of Israeli culture into her stories, music, food, you name it, creating this immersive experience that goes way beyond textbook learning.
Right, and speaking of, I saw a note about pronouncing Liat and Nissim's names correctly. Why is that so important?
It's about respect, both for the individual and their culture, like saying hello in someone's native language. It shows you're truly engaging with the material. Liat is pronounced Liat with a long A sound.
Okay, Liat, got it. And Nissim.
Nissim, emphasizing the first syllable.
Nissim. All right, so there's this intriguing connection between the Liat Show and academic achievement. Apparently, people who follow the show often end up earning at least one academic degree.
It is fascinating, isn't it? While there's no direct link in the sources, we can speculate. Maybe it's the show's diverse range of topics, the way it encourages critical thinking.
So maybe it sparks a love for learning that leads people to pursue higher education.
Possibly. Which brings us to the Liat portal itself. What about becoming a founding or annual member? What's that all about?
Yeah, for someone totally new to this idea, how would you explain it?
Well, think of it like becoming a patron of the arts, but for innovative storytelling. Members directly support Liat, making sure she can keep creating this amazing work.
So it's about being part of something bigger, investing in a creator who's really pushing boundaries.
Precisely. And speaking of being part of something bigger, there's a call to action for listeners, especially on YouTube.
Right, tell us more about that.
The Liat Show, My Journey to Infinity, is on YouTube, and Liat is aiming for 1,000 subscribers by the end of the month. This will make her eligible for the Rising Star Award nomination. Every subscription counts.
That's awesome. A simple way to show your support and help Liat reach more people. And the show already has incredible reach, doesn't it?
It does. People in 78 countries and 32 U.S. states are already tuning in. Really shows the power of storytelling to connect people from all walks of life.
It really does. So for our listeners who want to share this with their friends and family, how would you describe the Liat Show?
Here's a thought. Ask them what they think the future of education will look like. Then introduce the Liat Show and how it explores that very question in a really engaging and thought-provoking way.
It's not just passive listening. It's about sparking a conversation and encouraging critical thinking.
Exactly. And as we've seen so far, the Liat Show is a multifaceted experience. It's a journey that unfolds across timelines. It's a show that challenges, inspires, and leaves you wanting more.
It does, and there's so much more to uncover. Let's delve deeper into some specific examples from Liat's work and see what other gems we can unearth.
One thing that really struck me was how the Liat Show weaves together these seemingly unrelated topics. It's like finding these hidden connections between history, music, science, all sorts of things.
Yeah, it's not just about presenting the facts, it's about showing the connections. Do you have an example of this from the source material?
Oh, absolutely. In one episode, Lat connects the invention of the printing press to the rise of modern music. She talks about how the printing press made sheet music more accessible, which led to more amateur musicians and new genres developing.
Wow, I never thought of it that way. It really shows how history influences everything, even something like music.
Exactly. And that's what the Liat Show encourages us to do. Be curious, ask questions, and see the world in new ways.
And speaking of seeing the world in new ways, we talked before about how the Liat Show incorporates Israeli culture. Can you tell us more about that? What specific aspects does she bring in?
Oh, it's woven into the whole show, really. She shares stories about her family, Israeli traditions, even the challenges and triumphs of living in a country with such a rich history. She'll often play Israeli music too, making it a truly immersive experience.
It's like taking a trip to Israel without leaving your chair. And it's so much more fun than learning from a textbook.
It is. It uses our natural way of learning stories and shared experiences. Which brings us back to that idea of the Liat Show being reader-supported. We mentioned it before, but can you explain what that means for someone who's totally unfamiliar with the concept?
Yeah, a lot of people are used to traditional media, where things are funded by ads or big companies.
Right, but the Liat Show is different. It's more grassroots, individuals directly supporting the creator they believe in.
So it's a partnership between creator and audience. Listeners become part of it, contributing to something they value.
Exactly. It empowers both sides.
Mhm.
And it helps the Liat Show keep its unique voice without answering to advertisers or corporations.
It's like those indie films with a cult following, powered by passionate fans.
Great analogy. And just like those films, the Liat Show relies on word of mouth and community support, which, speaking of, extends way beyond any one country. We mentioned 78 countries and 32 U.S. states tuning in earlier. What do you think makes it resonate with such a diverse audience?
I think it's about the shared human experience. We all have stories, we want to learn and grow, and we crave connection. Liat's work seems to tap into that, themes that resonate with everyone.
Well said. It really shows the power of storytelling to connect people from different backgrounds.
Definitely something we need more of these days.
Mm.
Now let's talk about the future of the Liat Show. It's always evolving, pushing boundaries. Where do you see it going in the next few years?
That's a good question. Knowing Liat, she's always exploring new ways to connect with her audience. I wouldn't be surprised if she starts using virtual reality or augmented reality to tell her stories.
Whoa. Imagine experiencing that futuristic school in VR, stepping right into that world, interacting with the characters.
Exactly. It would really push the boundaries of storytelling and education. But for now, let's bring it back to the present. We talked about Liat's call to action, encouraging listeners to subscribe to her YouTube channel and other platforms. Why is that so important?
Right. What are the different ways listeners can engage with the Liat Show online?
It all comes down to supporting Liat's mission and helping her reach more people. Subscribing on YouTube is a simple way to start.
And beyond YouTube, you can find the Liat Show all over, right?
You got it. On Spotify and Apple Podcasts, you can listen to the episodes and leave ratings and reviews, which helps others find the show. Then there's Substack for subscribing to her newsletter and reading her stories.
Okay, and for those who want to take it a step further and directly support Liat's work.
Patreon. You can become a patron and get exclusive content, so there's a way to participate for everyone.
It's great that there are options for every level of engagement.
Exactly. And everything helps. Whether it's a like, a comment, a share, or a subscription, it all helps Liat keep creating.
And it builds that sense of community we talked about, connecting people across the globe. Speaking of, we've touched on the Liat Show as a tool for learning English and experiencing another culture. What makes it so effective for language learning?
I think a lot of it comes down to Liat's storytelling style. She makes things engaging, even for those who are still learning English. Her enthusiasm is contagious.
Yeah, she speaks clearly and at a good pace. Not too slow, not too fast. She uses a lot of vocabulary, but she always explains new words in a way that makes sense.
It's like having a personal tutor who's also a great storyteller.
Mhm.
And remember, active listening is key. Take notes, repeat phrases, try to retell the stories.
All great tips. And don't forget to pause or rewind to really focus on pronunciation. It's about making it an active experience.
It's about taking passive listening and making it immersive, and the Liat Show really helps with that.
Beyond language learning, the Liat Show offers so many cultural insights you wouldn't find in a textbook.
It's true. It's like a window into another world, a world that's familiar but also new and exciting. As we go deeper into the Liat Show, we'll see even more layers of meaning and complexity. We'll look at Liat's storytelling approach, her vision of the future of education, and how she connects different ideas in a way that sparks curiosity.
I can't wait. But before we move on, let's go back to that futuristic school and the threat from those bots for a minute. It's such a captivating part of the Liat Show, and it raises some really important questions about technology's role in our lives.
It does, doesn't it? It's not just a fun sci-fi story. It makes you think about the very real challenges of a digital world. Let's dive deeper into those challenges and see what ethical dilemmas they bring up.
So we're back, and I'm still thinking about those bots. It's amazing how Liat takes something that could be a Hollywood movie and turns it into this reflection on AI.
Yeah, the subtlety is what gets me. It's not just robots taking over. It's about the sneakier ways AI could, get into our systems and mess with information, even make us doubt what's real.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like that idea of a digital disease in the school, a metaphor for how fast misinformation spreads in our world.
Exactly. And then there's the ethics of it all. If bots can act human, what does it even mean to be human? What happens to identity, responsibility, even free will?
Big questions. The Liat Show doesn't give us all the answers, but it makes us think about these issues.
Right, it sparks critical thinking, which is more engaging for listeners. It doesn't talk down to them, it brings them into the conversation.
Speaking of conversation, we've talked a lot about the show itself, but what about the community around it? Liat seems to have created this amazing space for people to connect.
It's pretty special. You see it in the comments, on social media, even messages to Liat. It's like a real sense of connection, like you're part of something bigger.
What kind of feedback have you seen from people in the community? What are they saying about the Liat Show?
It's almost all positive. People say it inspires them to learn, think differently, even get creative themselves. A lot of them mention how it helped them with their English, not just the language itself, but experiencing a new culture.
That cultural immersion is so important, right? It's one thing to learn grammar, but it's another to experience language through culture, music, stories.
Totally. And the Liat Show gives you that experience in such an engaging way. It's not about memorizing, it's about absorbing the language.
It's like learning without even realizing it. It's fun and effective.
I think that's a key takeaway about the Liat Show. It shows how powerful storytelling is for educating, inspiring, and connecting people.
It's about pushing boundaries, challenging what we think, and being curious about the world.
And in the end, it's about giving people the power to be creative and make their own mark on the world.
What a great way to put it. If our listeners could take just one thing from this deep dive, what would it be?
I'd say check out the Liat Show for yourself. You won't regret it.
And remember, you can find the Liat Show, My Journey to Infinity, on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Substack, and Patreon. Subscribe, share, and join the community.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep those imaginations going.
This is The Deep Dive, signing off.